All right, welcome back. We are doing our lunch break chat here with Melanie Davis, and she is going to share with us her 3, 4, 5 points to help us continue to manage our space, our relationships, and ourselves during this time of quarantine. Melanie, what you got for us?
Hi. So I just wanted to touch base with everybody, and I've been doing a lot of kind of sharing on social media, but want to talk to people about making nurturing expectations, LaShawn. I just think this is a time where there's so much happening. We're all taking in a lot of stimulating things, information, a lot of us are supporting little ones at home. And I just want to remind people to check in with themselves and remember what healthy expectations are. There's going to be a lot of things coming our way, and it's okay to say, I'm not sure if I can fit that in today, or today this is going to be my max, and this is where I feel good, and I feel like if I put too much more on my plate, it's going to be too much. So just kind of knowing where nurturing expectations come into play with our mental health. Now, we can set our expectations super high and we can fill our plate super full and always be kind of chasing to do something more and complete one more thing and add one more thing. But what we find is there's a lot of burnout in that. And it's just from all the media has told us at this point, this is looking a little bit more like a marathon than a sprint.
And that's a long time.
Right? I really like that analogy because this is going to be the new normal for a little bit. And so I just really want to encourage people to slow down a little bit, nurture yourself when you're setting expectations, and it's okay to do that, right? We all want to have goals and feel like we have things we're working towards, but we want to keep them gentle and healthy. And if we find that we're feeling stressed or it's feeling like too much, that's when we take something off and make that okay for now.
When we have that drive, right? Because we have all of this free time, so we think we should be filling it with things. If it's a thing that stresses us out, that's kind of one of our flags. Ooh, this might not be nurturing for me. Can you talk more about what's a nurturing, caring thing, and
Okay,
maybe compare it to like what's not nurturing?
sure. So the reality is everybody has this perception that we have so much more time. Some of us do, some of us don't, right? You know, my work schedule stayed the same, and a lot of friends that I have, their work schedules have stayed the same. Some people are home, working from home, but there's still time being spent in that space. So I think there's a perception of free time that we have also that may not be fully accurate for everyone. Um, and even if there is more free time, because let's say we're not going out in the evening or going out to activities after school, that time has been replaced with other expectations that are just natural things that are perceived as obligations right now. We have schooling obligations, we have work from home transitions, we have, if you were a stay-at-home parent, you now have a house full of children. So there's different expectations have shifted. And while there's a perception that we have more time, I'm not sure if many people are feeling that excessive, amount of additional time. I think that's one thing that bringing perspective to is something to pay attention to. But when it comes to a nurturing expectation, I feel like I'm seeing a lot of definitely watch this. Here's exercises we can do from home. Here's what you should be eating from home. And I share a lot of that stuff also, right? As like pie in the sky, great idea. But it's all great information. And I think it's beautiful. And I think people are sharing because it brings a lot of comfort to share the things we love. But I think also on the receiving end, where a lot of us are taking in lots of information, and I think we need to sit with what feels good. So nurturing would be things that kind of feed your spirit and energy and your mood and allow you to feel like okay, this is a life enhancing thing I'm adding to my plate. So it's nurturing, it's helping me to feel better, it's positive, there's some reward involved. Now, not all the things on our plate are going to have an immediate reward involved. There's some things that we just are going to do, right? We need to get up and eat. And a lot of us have expectations that we've set of ourselves to try to meet some learning objectives for our children, or even for ourselves personally with development. But I would say look at those things and look at the extra things that we choose to put on our plate and decide where that balance feels manageable. And what's manageable, right? So at the end of the day, if you are stressed, you're not feeling like your best version of yourself, or even half of your best version of yourself, yeah, that might be time to scale back a little bit and say, what is working here and what is not feeling so great? And that's, I think, that nurturing piece of touching base with yourself and saying, does this feel good? Does this feel like it's something I can maintain? If not, how do we rework our expectations? So I have put that into play personally in our home. We have 3 little ones and we're doing distance learning, and we have an incredible platform that's been really handed to us on a silver platter, but there's still a lot of expectations, right, of parent support and things like that. And, you know, working from home, I love to exercise, I love to cook, I like outdoor time. You know, there's all these things I would love to fill our plate with. But I've learned after the first week of trying to do all of that and having a perfect color-coded schedule and all of this stuff, and we're all going to do this, when the schedule wasn't followed one day, I was like, this is not going to work. This is not how it's supposed to be. And then I realized this is actually not going to work. It's actually this attitude that is not going to work. It's not that the schedule is not going to work. And so I needed to reshift even my expectations of to be more nurturing of my home environment, my wellness, and my children's balance and my spouse's balance, who's also working. And so we shifted gears a little bit and cut back a little bit on time commitments to things, created a little bit more space for free space. And that felt more nurturing to us with the way that we set our daily expectations.
That's really good. Earlier, when we first started our kind of our quarantining, our social distancing, our working from home, you did a social media post talking about creating the space, like the physical space inside your home. And you were there in your living room talking about kind of like your setup. Would you give us like a little rundown about like creating the physical space? Maybe that might be nurturing too. Is that something you might be able to do?
Sure, absolutely. So if I wasn't on my desktop, I'd take you on a little walk. But I am very environment sensitive, and I love the aesthetic of things and mood and smells and all of that, and organization and things like that create calming spaces for me personally, and then also for my family. And so when I felt things kind of rising energy wise just around all of us inside and outside of our home. So I looked for things that would kind of bring that down a little bit. So I put essential oil diffusers in our living room and in our bedrooms, and also in our learning space. I also went and kind of picked some fun plants with our little ones to bring some extra oxygen into the air. I tried to clear busy spaces and kind of create less clutter. You are seeing lots happening behind me right now, but I do try to kind of minimize things in our home so that there's less chaotic spaces. And that's another way that I kind of create an environment for us that is hopefully soothing. Now, have there still been like sibling battles and all of that stuff going on? And yeah, sure.
All of the normal things.
All the normal stuff. Yeah.
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 Yeah. I really do. I feel like I'm more of an introverted person. So being like in my home and kind of being like, okay, I can really just kind of cocoon and just stay in one place. I loved your Instagram story where you were just kind of walking us through like your paint colors are neutral. Like I'm like big bright colors, right? But still like neutral wall, right? Neutral
Yeah.
wall. Okay.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, where can I go into my spaces and revisit how many things I have in there? One of the areas where I struggle is decor versus function. Like for me, I love your bookshelf because you've got decoration, but you also have the function of a bookshelf, which is to have books on it, right? So
Yeah.
I think finding that balance is really important. And even before you can find it, just to explore the idea of what balance can look like and
Yeah.
what it can feel like, because it's sensory, like you were saying earlier, like overstimulation, sensory overload. Outside of our homes, we can't really control all the things that are coming at us, but maybe inside of our homes we have a little bit more say in what the what's the word I'm looking like, what the tone or the
The
temperature.
tone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the pace,
I
what's
like
the
that.
pace once I walk into my home. And I love plants. I don't necessarily feel like I have a green thumb. I have.
I don't at all. I follow all the directions. I literally look up, what do I do with this? And I call plant stores if things look droopy. And I,
Yeah.
I find out. A little tip I have, because sometimes people get panicked when I say, is there a way to simplify spaces? And I have kind of done this from room to room, from our kitchen to reduce any kind of stress eating to our living room, like we were talking about. And sometimes people panic when they hear the idea of simplifying because they think they're going to have to let go of something to create that kind of more calming space, right? Like, no, my stuff, not my stuff. So what I say is, don't worry, we're not going to get rid of your things, but we could create an alternate space, right? And we rotate things. So you might feel like your room is not too busy until you actually remove some things and realize how nice it feels. So I'll get a box or a bin and I'll kind of take half the things out of a space and I'll put it away. I'll say, now these things are not going away. They're going to be in your house. You're not losing them. They're not being donated, but they're downstairs. And then kind of watch the mood in the room, watch how things flow through that room, how I feel in the space. And more often than not, it feels a lot more peaceful. There's more negative space, which means like open space, right?
Mm-hmm.
And no one misses the things. They know they're somewhere. They're somewhere. They're not gone, but no one misses them. And if you do, then you swap. So put away the things you left out and bring out the new things. So that's something that can help for when there's attachment issues with simplifying, which can happen, right? I think we all can find.
That's a beautiful reframe. Attachment issues. Yes, absolutely. Thank you for
Sure.
that tidbit. Where can people find you on the internet or social media to follow you and to get more tips or more engagement with you?
Sure. So we have a private practice, Empath Healing and Wellness, and we're on Facebook. And I'm also on Instagram, Happy Brain Foods. And on there, I post just different quotes and ideas and foods for mental health and ideal wellness. So Facebook, and our website is Empath Healing and Wellness.
Wonderful, wonderful. And are you seeing clients right now?
I am. We're seeing clients in our clinic and following CDC protocol with keeping things super clean. We only have 1 or 2 people coming in at a time, with the exception of our front desk manager. And then we're also offering telehealth.
Excellent, excellent. Melanie Davis, happy to have you here on our little lunch break chat. I hope we're able to do it again soon.
Nice to see you.
Good to see you as well. Thank you so much.